so, long ago, there was this world-renowned jewel thief. He was well known in the community as being one of the most skilled and talented pickpockets in India. And there wasn't anything that this man couldn't steal or get his hands on. And he did it in such like a skillful way that most people had no idea that they were being taken from. So one day, this jewel thief sees a man walking out of a jewelry store and follows him up the road. And as a sort of standard practice for him, he uses his skill in an attempt to try and steal this diamond from this man. And he tries everything, like he checks his pockets, under his hat. I mean, who knows, maybe he was covert enough to check his socks. In other words, he was looking everywhere for this diamond and he couldn't find it, which was unlike him, right? And so eventually he grows just increasingly frustrated and taps the man on the shoulder and says to him, he says, "Sir, I'm a world-renowned diamond thief, and there hasn't been one diamond that I haven't been able to steal from someone. And for the life of me, I can't find the diamond that you had left the store with." Now, why he feels compelled to admit a crime to the person he's attempting to steal from is beyond me, but, these are old Eastern spiritual koans not meant to be dissected by the Western mind. So, we can drop logic and rationale for the time being. So anyways, he confesses to this stranger that he's unable to locate this diamond. And he's tried everything, right? And maybe it's his sort of devout sense of pride that leaves him unable to drift off into the shadows and just forget about the whole thing. So he says, "Sir," walks up to him and he's like, "I've tried everything and I can't find this diamond." And the man just very kindly looks at him and he responds, "I knew that you were looking for the diamond. And so I hid it in the one place that I knew you wouldn't look, your own pocket." Now on the surface, this can be looked at as, simply just a clever story, but from the spiritual dimension, there's a great deal of significance here because at some point on our path towards spiritual truth, we embody the sort of many dynamics of what we would consider to be the spiritual seeker. Like when the light of our awareness sort of ignites within us, so does a natural impulse and curiosity towards seeking. And this seeking in and of itself isn't a bad thing. More than anything, it seems kind of hardwired into the process of awakening. But just as we understand how important it is for us to get our ego and mind under control, it's important that we, monitor our proclivity towards seeking as well. Because the positive function of seeking is that, it can help illuminate a path out of the shadows of the mind. But what seeking can't do is identify the true nature of the eternal spirit, right? The seeker is just that, it seeks. It'll sort of continue seeking even when we awaken to the realm of the true self. Because although seeking is seen as an imperative part of the spiritual journey, it's important to understand that the seeker is still, just another aspect of the ego, right? Just trying to sort of grasp at something it feels it can latch onto and identify with on the spiritual path. So until it finds what it perceives to be enlightenment, the ego will just continue looking and searching everywhere for it. Much like the sort of thief searching every area of this other person trying to find this diamond, right? So in essence, kind of we search high and low trying to fulfill our version of what we believe enlightenment to be, only to grow increasingly frustrated when we don't end up finding it. And it's not as obvious to us that, perhaps the reason we're unable to find it is because we aren't looking in the right places. Of course, when we look at Eastern spirituality from the Western lens, we assume that the answers are everywhere other than ourselves. And it's easy to fall into this perspective if you're growing up with a Christian way of looking at the world. Because in Christianity, you're here and God and your salvation are somewhere out there and, your job is to locate a church that can help you find it. But in Eastern spirituality, you're here and God, Source, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, all exist in the same here that you're currently in. So there's really no separation between enlightenment and you, right? The only separation that exists lies only in sort of one single belief that you're separate from that which is eternally present and here with you now. So in essence, enlightenment isn't about obtaining something that you don't have. Enlightenment is about realizing that the diamond has always been in your own pocket. And it is only really like the thief that we call the ego that believes that it's somewhere other than where you're at. So it's like what, Sri Muji says. He says the place that you're looking for is the place that you're looking from. So it's there, right? And we don't need to find it, After all, we can't really find what we already have, right?